This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. It sure is great having you join me here in these online lessons. This is lesson 18 in this mini course that's all about flat picking. In this lesson, we're building on things we've done in previous lessons by working on walking between G and D7, inserting bass note runs between the G chord and the D7 chord. We'll also look alternatively at D or even G7. It kind of works the same as we learned in the last lesson with C and G. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. We're using the bass down up, alternate bass down up strumming pattern, and with these chords. I'm not going to go over how to do that again. If you need help with that, check out lesson 10. That was the lesson where we worked on that chord progression, specifically with that strumming pattern. So if you need help there, do that. But in this lesson, I'm going to focus in on doing these bass note runs. So G is kind of an interesting chord, same as G7 a little bit, but when we're walking to G, there's two different ways that we can do it. So it's always about stepwise motion within the scales that exist out there, and there's lots of different scales, but we're basically using major scales. We can sometimes use minor scales if we were going to a minor chord, or we might also use like a dominant seventh scale, the Mixolydian scale, and sometimes we use some chromatic scales as well, or the chromatic motion that we can plug in between notes of these scales. So with the G chord, we're in the key of G with this progression. It's easy to approach it from above, just coming down. So G, A, B, we need two steps, so we'd have B, A, G. To come from higher, we start on the third, come down to the second step of the scale, G major scale, and we're down to G. So if we just play G with this alternating bass strumming pattern, then we can practice going just to G from G, just plugging that in, bass down up. So I'm just going on that fifth string to open G, and then to O G. So that's one way that we can walk to G. So we can go from D to G in that way. We can go from other chords to G in that way. So either way, doesn't really matter what chord we're actually coming from, we can walk to G in that way. Now, we can also approach it from below. So we got G. In the key of G, we would have the notes E, F sharp, and then G. That would be steps 6, 7, and then to the G. We're in the key of G here, so this works well as well. So we've got G, alternating, and then I'm not too worried about what the alternating note is, whether you're using the third or the fifth, but that's how we walk up. So it's just on that low sixth string, O, 2, 3. So that's how that one works. So moving from D to G or D7 to G, we can use either one of those. So easy peasy there. Or you might not be thinking so, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. D7. We can approach D7 a couple different ways. So if we approach it from above, we're going to have F sharp down to E, and then we've got the D. So this would be the third of the D chord to the second step down to that D. So D7. 4-2 open on that fourth string is how that would go. 4-2 open. That's a little bit trickier for some. You could use 3-1 and then just slide. 3-1 being your ring finger and index on frets 4 and 2. You could use that way again if you didn't want to use your pinky. So that works. That also works for D. Now with D7 and D with this particular chord progression, because we're in the key of G, we've got a couple different options from below. If we go diatonic to the key of G, we would use a D Mixolydian scale. We would have a B, as step 6, C as the flatted 7th of the key, or the flatted 7th of the chord, and then we're to D, so at D7. That would go 2, 3, open, 2, 3, open, and that works just great in this chord progression. We also could use a chromatic walk-up with this one. We could take the 7th, so that's really the flatted 7th, and take that one and then go to the natural 7 to it. So that'd be frets 3, 4 on that 5th string and then to the open. So that also works really well with D7. So a couple options there that work well with D7. Again, you could go from step 6, which is the B, to the C natural, to the D7, 2, 3 on the frets on that 5th string, 2, 3 open 4th string. Or I could do the 7th, the flatted 7th to the natural 7th, so that one that goes frets 3, 4 on that 5th string. Both of those work really nice on the D7. Now, in this key, if I went to D, I could also use those. If we were in the key of D, there's a C sharp note, and it actually sounds nice to use B, C sharp up to the D. B, C sharp, D. So we can use, there's like 3 great options for going to D. In this particular key, I would probably use one of the first 2 I gave instead of going to D7 with a C sharp. Though it's a leading tone, we can always use that chromatic walk no matter what chord we're going to. But I think it sounds nicer to use the C natural because it's in the D7 chord, but for the D, B, C sharp, D works great. Let's practice going back and forth between the G and D7 chords as we get ready for this. So we're going to have G to D7 and then D7 back. If we give 2 bars of each one, then we'll have G and then we'll walk to D7 and back to G. So for right now, let's do the one for both of the chords where we're going to from steps 3 to the open, so the above approach. So for the D7 chord, that's 4th fret, 2nd fret, open on the 4th string. For the G chord, that's going to be 2nd fret, open on that 5th string down to the G. Okay, here we go. 1. It doesn't matter which alternating bass note choice you're using. I'm just working on this bass note run here. So we go 1, a 2, I want to, ready, you got the G to the D7, back to G, to the D7, back to G, to the D7, to the G, to the D7. I'm just going to speed it a little bit up. Should have used the G to D7 G. Put a little ending on there with G. G to the D7 to the G. Okay, so that works on that one, and you can do that as many times as you need to get comfortable. Let's approach them from below. So we're going to have the open to 3rd fret for the G chord on that low 6th string, O to G. And this time, let's do the 2nd fret, 3rd fret to the D. So the 6th, flat 7th, D7. So we'll approach from below. So you got 1, a 2, I want to, ready, got the G to the D7. back to G, motion where we go 3rd fret to the 4th fret, so the chromatic movement from the flatted 7th to the natural 7th to that D7. So you go 1, I do, I want to, ready, we got the G to the D7 to 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 the G. Now, just for fun and good practice, let's take the 6th to the natural 7th up to the D, just to practice that one just for fun. So we're gonna have B, C sharp, D. So, and we'll come. So 2nd fret, 4th fret, open. 2nd fret and 4th fret are on that 5th string. So 1, I do, I want to, ready, got the G to the D, back to G to the D to the 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 D. Okay, now we can look at plugging it into a song a little bit. So when we have a song, it's easier in these places where we have 2 chords per measure, or the chord lasts for 2 measures, I should say, because we can do what we were just doing. We've got a bar of the strumming pattern, and then in this one we do half of the strumming pattern, and then we do the walk to the next chord, and then coming back it's the same way. Where we have these chords where there's 1 measure, we don't have to stick them in. If you do, then you're just going to have a half a measure of the strumming pattern and then the walk to the other one. This is for Skip to My Lou. Down in the description below, you can click on a link, download a free copy of that sheet music in PDF format. So you can do that if you need to. You may already have it from lesson 10. Or you can look up here on the board. We got 2 measures of G, 2 measures of D7, 2 measures of G, then D7 and G. Then it starts over, happens the exact same way in the second half of the song. So if we were to plug these in, like that. Pretty easy until we get to the D7. If you want to plug one in here, you're going to play just bass, down, up, then do the walk to G, and then we stay on G. Okay, this first time, let's do the higher walk down to the root. So 3rd, 2nd, then the root of that chord. Here we go. I want to, ready, and lost my partner. What'll I do? Lost my partner, what'll I do? Lost my partner, what'll I do? Skip to my Lou, my darling. Skip, skip, skip to my Lou. Skip, skip, skip to my Lou. Skip, skip, skip to my Lou. Skip to my Lou, my darling. It's easy as that. Let's do one of the ones from below. So on the D7, you can just choose which one you want to use. I'm not going to practice them both here with you, but you could choose either one. We'll approach the G. So you got 1, I do, I want to, ready, and lost my partner, what'll I do? Lost my partner, what'll I do? Lost my partner, what'll I do? Skip to my Lou, my darling. Skip, skip, skip to my Lou. Skip, skip, skip to my Lou. Skip, skip, skip to my Lou. Skip to my Lou, my darling. Now, when I actually playing a song, I would probably change up whether I'm coming from below or coming above. And I might take it a little bit faster. So I'll just do a random one. You can do however you want to on it. Lost my, so you got 1, 2, I want to ready, and lost my partner, what'll I do? Lost my partner, what'll I do? Lost my partner, what'll I do? Skip to my loo, my darling. Skip, skip, skip to my loo. Skip, skip, skip to my loo. Skip, skip, skip to my loo. Skip to my loo, my darling. Okay, kind of fun, and you can do it any old random way you want to. Alright, so that wraps us up for this lesson. I hope you're having so much fun. In the next lesson, we're going to work on these bass note runs that we've been doing in this lesson and the last one. We're going to do a song that has G, C, and D7. It's going to be great. I'll see you then. Take care. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.